Hey guys, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in to the Zero Excuses podcast. My name is Kenyon. You are listening to the latest edition of the Deacons of Discipline series. This is a short show that I bring to you every Monday and Friday, where I share with you either a soundbite or an excerpt out of a book, something that's had a big impact on my life, something that I've integrated into my daily habits, my daily routines, and I break it down for you and share with you some actionable, practical strategies that you can take forward into your life after listening to today's episode and implement them yourself. So today I wanted to break down a short excerpt out of Darren Hardy's book, The Compound Effect. This is a highly recommended book. I'm going to drop a link in the show notes so you guys can easily get a copy yourself. But this is definitely in my top 10 books that I've read to date. And the premise of the book centers around taking those small and sometimes seemingly meaningless actions on a daily basis and being consistent and having those little wins compound themselves into an exponential effect on your life. And that's what I wanted to share with you guys today. Consistency in planning and consistency in taking action. This has been key to building this podcast you're listening to right now. It's been key to me getting results in each and every area of my life, whether it's fitness, health, my relationship with my wife, my daughter, the rest of my family and my coworkers, just simply being consistent and knowing what I need to do and also knowing what I don't need to do. All right, so I'm starting to ramble here. Let's start diving down into the meat of today's discussion, consistency. And to me, consistency is a commitment to doing something before you have that inherent discipline that you've built over a long period of time to do something. Consistency is something that you actively have to pursue. It's something that you need to have a system in place to make sure that you do what you know you need to do. And the more consistent that you can be, the more momentum that you're going to build towards reaching your goals, and you're going to become like an unstoppable freight train. Darren mentions that in his book, Big Mo. An object in motion tends to stay in motion unless acted upon by an outside force. So that outside force might be those excuses that you tend to make. It may be that random thought or that outside influence, that friend that tells you, "Oh, you don't need to do that today. You need to do that tomorrow." So that's just a quick physics analogy there. Let me read a short excerpt out of Darren's book for you, and then I'm going to break down a couple keys that I personally use to make sure that I'm being consistent on a consistent basis. Anyways, here it is. This is out of a section called The Power of Consistency. I've mentioned that if there's one discipline that gives me a competitive advantage, it's my ability to be consistent. Nothing kills Big Mo quicker and with more certainty than a lack of consistency. Even good, passionate, and ambitious people with good intentions can fall short when it comes to consistency. But it's a powerful tool you can use to launch the flight towards your goals. Think of it like this. If you and I flew planes from Los Angeles to Manhattan, but you took off and landed in every state in between while I flew straight through, even if you went 500 miles per hour and I went 200 miles per hour, I'd still beat you by a big margin. And here's the key here. The time and energy it takes for you to repeatedly stop and start and get back momentum makes your trip at least 10 times as long. In fact, most likely you wouldn't even make it. You'd run out of fuel, energy, motivation, belief, will. It's far easier and requires a lot less energy to take off once, maintain regular speed, and reach your final destination. You know, there was a lot of good stuff in that short snippet out of the book, but I have some actually counterintuitive keys to consistency. And my first key here is give yourself permission to change. Consistency doesn't mean being so rigid and so locked into a certain habit or routine that you don't give yourself flexibility or the margin necessary to make adjustments, integrate new tactics, integrate new thoughts, new experiences. And let's get real here. Doing the same stuff over and over and over is going to be, it's going to be draining, it's going to be boring, and it's going to get old, and it's going to be ineffective. And you're not going to be able to, like I said, integrate that new experience, that new knowledge, that new tactic, or even put new tools into place for you to. And my other key to consistency is to plan those core habits, rituals, routines, whatever they may be. Plan those for the first hour or the last hour of the day. And here's why. Those 2 periods of time, the first and last hour of the day, those are the 2 periods of time that we have the absolute most control over. Everything in between those 2 periods of time, even if we're the most independent entrepreneur, there's other forces in life, inevitable things that have impact on the rest of our day. So if we can isolate those core activities that we know we need to be consistent with to get us the results that we want. For example, I've decided that I want to write a book this year, and I've decided that I want to write 250 words per day. That's a small amount, but I know if I'm consistent with that and do that over and over, I'm going to have close to 100,000 words written by the end of the year. But if I try and do that in the middle of the day, I know that doing that in the middle of the day isn't the most productive time for me to do that. So I plan that during my morning routine. So there you guys have it. Those are a couple of my keys to being consistent. And I'll just throw another one in there. I know I mentioned this during my Wheelbook Wednesday show, but making things fun is also another good strategy to implement to help build consistency. All right, guys, that's all I have for you today. Don't forget to check out the show notes for everything that we have going on, ways you can get involved, whether it's through our free Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/0excuses. Join the close to 435 folks in there having conversations, busting down their excuses, building the discipline, regaining control over their time. We're all doing that in there, and it's all free. There's also details on how you can support my effort to raise $25,000 towards the Courage Foundation's efforts to support veterans suffering from PTSD and ultimately reducing and eliminating the amount of veterans that are taking their lives each and every day. Thanks once again for tuning in, and I will chat with you guys again soon.